Hey everybody, welcome back to another review of Married at First Sight, Season 12. This is going to be episode 16. It's Decision Day. I think the title of it was titled Real Life Starts Now. A lot of this was recaps, because the decision didn't take long at all. Uh, it was long, drawn out, and bored. It was absolutely no reason for it to be 2 hours. It could have been 30 minutes, honestly. But hey, let's get to it. We're going to go in the order they went, so we're gonna do it. Starts out. The first couple is Claire and Ryan. They showed a package before them about what they've done this season. We've already seen it. We already know how they are. They talked to them about intimacy, how there's still no intimacy. Which this is probably the most intimacy I've seen between them. Was Ryan, how he was looking at her, how he was touching her, he had his arm on her, stuff like that. Usually, but there is intimacy between them, but it's not like sexual intimacy. It's like, he cares about her. He wants her around. And, she wants to get it in, but he's like, no. So, and they talked the thing like, he still hasn't said, I love you. I like that he came straight out and said, like, I'm not going to say it. It's not because of her, it's because of me and how I feel and how I think. And just fucking with me about it ain't going to make me want to say it anymore. And they kind of had to respect that. She was like, I had to respect that. She was like, he told me how he felt and what he thought. And I was like, do I want to just give all this up because of that? Or is it fine me wait a couple more months to hear it? And she was like, I'm fine with waiting. And, Clara said that, she felt like Ryan was her best friend, that she really liked spending time with him. She said this is the healthy relationship she's ever been in. And I believe her when she says that. She said she wants to stay married to him. And Ryan said, he's for sure wants to stay married. Like, he's thought about it. He's going over it in his head. Everything that's going on, all this stuff. He for sure he wants to stay married to her. So they both said, yeah. And that was it for them. The next couple was Haley and Jacob, which was a shit show. Haley, they basically asked them what it's been like, and they both said like the wedding night was great. They had real fun. It was so awkward that it was fine, okay, and acceptable. That how awkward it was because it was new. But after that, pretty much after that night, she really didn't like him. She really didn't. She didn't find him enjoyable, pleasurable, like anything like that. So they had a great wedding night. And then there were no more other good days after that, which is crazy. And she said she's learned to communicate more, but she's like, before him, she never talked about what she thought, what she felt. She would just be like, I'm out of here, I'm done. She never tried to work through things. She just was like, okay, I'm over. And she said being with him is she's kind of learned that, I should be able to communicate my feelings and my thoughts better. And Jacob was like, he hasn't learned anything. The only thing he learned about himself was that it was patience under pressure. I think that's what he said. Was that, he had to learn to not just snap and go off on her. Even though he wanted to. And he said because, her family told him that, Haley needs time to herself. She needs Haley time. Don't push her. Don't pressure her. So he was like, even though he wanted to pressure her, he had to learn to not do that. And he hated it. So he was giving her time and giving her space. And then he would just come at her like softly to approach to figure out what's going on. And then she said she didn't see that. Or she didn't know that's what he was doing. She thought he was just ignoring her. Or he just didn't want to be around her. So how he was saying, what he was saying he was doing, she was like, that's not what you were doing, or that's not how I saw it. And it didn't matter either way, She said that, he always wanted the same things. He always wanted to talk. And she got tired of talking because she said that she didn't mind talking, but they only had the same conversations about why she doesn't find him attractive or what's wrong. She said that's the only thing we ever talked about. And Jacob was like, that's not, they had an argument like, that's not what I talked about, Don. She was like, yes, that's all you want to talk about was problem. She was like, there was no fun. We never did anything fun. She's like, I wanted to have a relationship where it had a lot of good times. But you always kill the mood. And Jacob was kind of a mood killer because he knew she didn't like him. He knew that he was done. He was going to stick it out because he was committed to it. But he was like, you don't like me. You don't find me attractive. Why? I don't want to do shit with you. And, you know, and they asked him, like, because they won the contest by who knows his spouse better. He was like, they're like, yeah, all we did was talk. So he knew a lot about her and she knew a lot about him, and they paid attention to each other a lot. But they were just two good people that didn't belong together, basically. Because neither one of them were wrong in how they felt or how they thought. They just didn't match together. And I think it was Pastor Cal. He was Pastor Cal. He asked Jacob a hypothetical, like, what if Haley said, you know, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, let's try over, let's start now. What would you say? And Jacob was like, we've had 8 weeks. And we didn't do it then. I don't think a few more weeks are going to make any difference. And, you know, we didn't try in 8 weeks. Extra time is not going to help. And Haley was like, you know, I feel the same way. You know, I tried my hard, which was the complete opposite of what he said. He said, but you didn't fucking try 8 weeks. She was like, well, I tried, and it just didn't work. And it was, even in breaking up, even in divorcing, they didn't agree. So it was like, shit. So they both said no. We're going to this shit show here, Chris and Paige. And they asked Chris what was most memorable, and he said that the last day together was the most memorable for him, when they played basketball, played pool, and did all. He said that's what it meant the most to him. That's bullshit. And Paige was like, you know, she had, like, it was good moments. It wasn't really good days. She could see, like, good in him, even if he didn't do stuff good. She could see that it was the potential for it was there. And she said she didn't feel valued, she didn't feel appreciated, she didn't feel respected, and she didn't feel loved since the wedding. Like, it wasn't even like, which was crazy. I think Pastor Cal asked her, okay, on the wedding day, she felt like this dude didn't value her, didn't appreciate her, didn't respect her. Why would you go through all the stuff you went through if you felt that way on the wedding day? Why would you? Vivian asked him, why do you keep coming back to him? She was like, oh, you know, because I saw all this potential, and I saw everything that could happen. It was like, there's always potential there. There is, with everybody. If they're not acting on it, then fuck them. You know, she saw what Chris could have been and not what he was. And she's just happy to be married. And I asked Chris, what does he regret or what he could have done different? And he said the only thing he regrets is that he didn't move in. When they got back from the honeymoon and he left to go to Chicago and she went to the apartment by herself, he didn't move in with her in the apartment. He feels that's when the resentment started. I'm like, it started before that. And you know, and he said that she was the best thing that he never cherished. He said a bunch of shit, just trying to run game on people. And you know, I said she's the woman he needed. And then he said that Mercedes had a miscarriage, which I was like, well, that's sad. But then he gets up and he's fake crying these dry ass tears, and he runs out to the car, and Paige follows him, and he's in the car just fake crying hard as hell. And I'm looking, there's no tears. I have children. I have kids. If one of my kids died, there would be no fake tears. And for anybody out there who has kids, if something happened to your children, they would know I would damn near drown myself crying so fucking hard. That's not what he did. Oh shit, my alarm going off. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. He couldn't cry. He lost a child and didn't care. And Paige, she's trying to do this whole wifely duty to calm him, sympathize with him, be with him. It was just bullshit, y'all. It really was. It was just a ridiculous amount of bullshit. So they come, but this is how little he gets. He didn't give a fuck about her. They was outside talking. And Paige is in a dress. She was looking good too. She was looking damn good. She was in a dress. And he asked her, "Are you cold?" And she says, and I quote, "I'm freezing." And he says, "Okay." He does not give her his jacket until they get back inside. They're outside talking. When they get inside, after they're done talking to come back, then he gives her his jacket. He's like, ain't no point in both of us being cold. Shit. He didn't give it to her when she was out in the cold. He waited till they got into the warm to do the chivalrous thing and give her his jacket then. When she didn't need the motherfucker because she's inside now. That's how much Paige means to him. And it was just, they come back and she's like, well, you know, the baby was the main reason why it didn't work. And Pastor Cal says, no. It was bad the wedding day. Y'all was having problems before that even came out. He didn't find you attractive. He didn't want you before that. He don't want you now. You saw Pastor Cal and Dr. Viviana getting visibly pissed off. Viviana is mad as fuck. Dr. Viviana is upset because she feels like, what is you doing? Like, she is looking at Paige like, what is the matter with you? Go ahead and tell this man hell no so we can get on with him. But Paige is confused. She don't understand. And it's like, Dr. Viviana goes up on Chris like, you playing with her. It's obvious he playing with her to everybody but Paige. And then once Viviana brings it up, like he is just playing, Paige breaks down. Because she knows it. I think in her heart she knows this is a game. This man ain't buy shit. So she runs off. And then, you know, Chris like, well, that's your lead, you know. And she like talked to production. Production might as well be part of the goddamn show now. They up when Chris and Paige on, they on the goddamn show as much as they is. And then she's telling Paige, like, the production, like, you had your mind made up when you came here. And Paige is like, yeah, she's like, well, just say that shit. Whatever you was thinking before you heard all this bullshit, just say that. Because that's accurate. And it's like, she don't get it, or she just don't want to get it. I don't know what it is. And Viviana is upset. Like, you know, this is a game to him. And it's not a game. Ain't nobody else playing but Chris. So she comes back and she says, you know, I feel like I'm falling back into this same trap with Chris. I want him to be different. I want him to change, but he's not. And he's not. So she said, you know, no, I want a divorce. And Chris is stunned. Because he knew he had her wrapped up. Because he didn't give a, like, this whole thing, he doesn't want to be with Paige. He wants to keep sleeping with her. And he wants to keep her around. He knows he can take advantage. He knows he can manipulate her. And that's what he wants. He don't want to be with her. He wants to manipulate her to get what he wants out of her. Because Paige has made it known she's a ride. Out of all the stuff he's done, she ain't left. That's as ride as die as it gets. And the only thing you doing is dying. Because y'all ain't riding nowhere. Mercedes is riding with him. You doing the dying. And he said, you know, it's not what he thought was going to happen, but he respects her decision. I guarantee you, they still messing around. They not divorced. I already know it. But I can guarantee they still together. And he is still treating her bad. And it'll probably be years before she opens her eyes to this man is just abusing me. Next couple was Virginia and Eric. And Eric, they said yes. I don't know why they said yes. Like, I was waiting on Virginia to say no. I knew Eric was going to say yes because he was goddamn, he's just a sad motherfucker. And you know, he said he's nervous when he got there. He said he was nervous because he didn't know what she was going to say. He said because he knows he's not her number one. Her friends are the number one thing in her life. He wants to be that number one, but he's just not there yet. He needs more time to get there. And he was like, I just don't want to be hurt no more. And Virginia was like, just the way I am, the way I was grew up and stuff. I don't really put a person as my number one thing. I don't really do that or put someone like ahead of my life. That's not what I do. But she felt like in time she could do that, so she said yes, and he said yes, and he got down on one knee to propose to her. He had like a little rubber band ring. I ain't never seen no shit like. He had like a rubber band ring. It wasn't a real ring. I don't know why he did that. Maybe it was something inside that I don't understand. But I see nothing but disaster for them two. There's no way this lasts. There's no way. Because one, I don't think she really cares about him. And two, he just don't want to be alone. That's it. There's no way that shit works. Brianna and Vincent, he loves her. She loves him. They're happy together. Brianna is looking very good. Vincent looks like he can't find clothes that fit, or he just gained too much weight for the clothes in his closet. And they asked him about their problems they were having with Tone. And Vincent was like, yeah, she's kind, but bossy and rude. And it's something that he doesn't really like, but that's her. And she said, she's like, yeah, but that's me. And if you don't like her, she said, you don't like my take charge attitude, my bossiness, or my directness, then you just don't like me, because that's just her. But he said, he wants to stay married to her because he does love her, and she's a good woman. And she's like, I love him, he's a good man. And then he proposed to her. He pulled out a cheesecake, and the cheesecake had on it, Brianna, will you marry me? And the thing was, the experts were like, what the fuck, Vincent, what are you doing? Like, why cheesecake? And he was like, well, she wanted a cheesecake. And she was like, no, y'all don't understand. I want this cheesecake more than I wanted the ring. It was just something that she said, but he heard it and picked up on it that she wanted the cheesecake. She didn't want a ring. And it was like, so she was crying. They're like, you're in tears. She was like, yes, because I wanted a cheesecake. She's like, I don't need a ring. A ring would be nice, but this cheesecake is weird. She said, I love cheesecake more than anything else in this world. And he got her a cheesecake. And that's testament to him. Because when he did that, I was looking back on it through the whole season, and he always did stuff like that for her. Anything she said, just as an off thought or just in passing or whatever, he remembered it. He remembered what she says, and he would get it done for her. He would make it happen for her. And that's probably why the things she says hurts him so much, because he puts a lot of thought into any and everything she says. It means the world to him. And he thinks so heavy on every word that comes out of her mouth that he's obviously probably hurting himself more than she's trying to hurt him. But it was nice. They both said yes. It was cool. I liked it. After that, they go and meet up in some like backyard somewhere. And basically like, oh, we said yes and we said no, or we're moving on. So they're just talking like that. And it's everybody except Chris. And Paige was like, she's like, I just couldn't do it. He's taking advantage of me. I felt like I've been a fool and stuff like that. And then later on, Chris shows up. And he shows up and everybody just like quiet, like, oh shit, what the fuck finna happen now? And he was like, I just wanted to apologize. He said, I apologize to Paige. I want to apologize to the rest of y'all. He was like, I really messed this whole experience up. I kind of like brought the mood down for everybody. And, I hate that I did that. This supposed to be a journey, a fun trip for everything. And he was just like, I fucked everything up. And then they're leaving. Paige was like, oh, I'm so proud of you. You didn't go off. And he was like, oh, like, and she's still acting like she's his wife. I'm like, no, fuck him. Jacob and Haley arguing, because Jacob was like, I didn't learn stuff. I don't care. We're done. We're getting divorced, whatever. And he's been 100. Jacob's been 100 this whole time. He was like, yo, when she said, I didn't find you attractive, he was done. He was like, because without attraction, you got nothing. Nothing. And even though he knew that, he still did what she wanted. He still wore clothes. He still acted the way she wanted. It was so much stuff that she had a problem with. It was all really kind of small and minor. I don't blame him for having the I don't give a fuck attitude. So that was decision day. 3 couples stayed together. 2 got divorced. I think for the reunion, I seen the preview for the reunion, and it looks like Virginia and Eric probably aren't still together. Jacob and Haley are still fussing and fighting. And it look like Chris and Paige, like I just said, they still fucking around. They probably still fucking around now. I thought only Claire and Ryan and Brianna and Vincent would stay together. And I don't know how long Claire and Ryan will stay together. They could stay together for a while. I think Brianna and Vincent could stay together for a while too. I knew there's no chance in hell Virginia area. There's no way in hell. That wouldn't last another month. There's no fucking way. But hey, those are my thoughts. What are yours? I look forward to hearing them. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch y'all for the reunion, man. Peace.